After Song Qingqiao was diagnosed with a gastric ulcer, Sheng Yu suggested she take a few days off. Song Qingqiao agreed verbally, but the very next morning, she drove to Jin City for a business trip. This time, she was meeting an old client. In the 6 years since Song Qingqiao entered the industry, the client had achieved upward social mobility through 3 marriages and similarly, had chosen to divorce due to infidelity in all 3 marriages. The exorbitant disputed assets had brought the client substantial wealth accumulation and equally filled Song Qingqiao's pockets, not to mention the opportunity to tear apart the cheating husband. Song Qingqiao would never give up such an opportunity. Originally, she hadn't planned on telling Sheng Yu, but to her surprise, Sheng Yu showed up at Song Qingqiao's home the next day at noon with a homemade stomach-soothing meal, only to find no one home. Thus, as soon as Song Qingqiao arrived in Jin City, she received a call from Sheng Yu. "Song Qingqiao, where are you? What's wrong? Missing me after only a dozen hours apart?" Song Qingqiao teased, scanning the surrounding restaurants. Sheng Yu didn't blush at her usual teasing. Instead, he repeated the question, "Song Qingqiao, where are you?" Song Qingqiao paused her phone browsing, sensing an inexplicable gravity in his tone. "Where are you?" Sheng Yu's voice was low. "Bringing you lunch." Song Qingqiao's mind stalled for an instant. In the past, she had never revealed her detailed information when dealing with her younger brother, partly because it wasn't necessary, and partly out of fear that it would be too troublesome to shake them off later. She had intended to do the same with Sheng Yu, but unexpected things happened. First, their encounter at the law firm, and then last night when she had a sudden stomachache, Sheng Yu drove her home. "You're my house." Song Qingqiao's voice felt rough. "Yes, I brought you some stomach-soothing porridge, but you weren't home." Song Qingqiao opened her mouth, suddenly finding herself at a loss for words. Only her heart was strangely pounding. A wonderful, unfamiliar feeling swelled from deep within her. For many years, no one besides her friends Xu Li and Yin Qi had shown her such concern. Sensing Song Qingqiao's hesitation, Sheng Yu's voice grew a few shades colder. "Are you working?" Song Qingqiao, uncharacteristically losing her usual playful irreverence when teasing Sheng Yu, explained, "Yes, an old client is getting divorced, and the amount involved is substantial, so I came to take a look." "Have you had lunch?" "Not yet." "Where are you?" "I'll come find you." "I'm in Jin City right now." After Song Qingqiao answered, the other end of the phone fell silent, only heavy breathing conveying the caller's restrained anger. Song Qingqiao pictured Sheng Yu's stern expression, and the corners of her lips curved unconsciously. "I'm looking for a restaurant now. I'll eat lunch soon." Sheng Yu grumbled, "Don't eat anything raw, cold, spicy, or irritating." Song Qingqiao stifled a laugh. "Okay, I won't. I'll have porridge. Work is endless. Staying up late can lead to baldness. Remember to rest." No one had ever given her such instructions. Song Qingqiao couldn't help but laugh softly. "Got it." After hanging up, Song Qingqiao canceled the restaurant she had chosen earlier and found a nearby porridge shop for a bowl of porridge. In the afternoon, Song Qingqiao drove to the coffee shop her client had arranged. It wasn't their first collaboration, and they were quite familiar with each other, so they finished discussing most of the matters in an afternoon. However, Song Qingqiao needed to organize the materials and conduct a second round of communication, so she booked a hotel for the night. Because she had coffee in the afternoon, soon after checking into the hotel, Song Qingqiao felt a stinging pain in her stomach. Initially, she didn't mind, but the pain grew increasingly intense, making it impossible for her to concentrate on organizing the materials. She quickly grabbed her bag to search for stomach medicine, only to realize she had forgotten to bring it in her morning rush. Song Qingqiao had no choice but to open a delivery app to order some stomach medicine, then lay on the bed, curling up to try and alleviate the pain. Time ticked by minute. Song Qingqiao felt drowsiness wash over her and fell asleep. She didn't know how much time had passed when her phone buzzed beside her. The caller ID showed Sheng Yu. Song Qingqiao groggily fumbled for her phone. "Hello." Sheng Yu's anxious voice came through the phone. "Song Qingqiao, where are you?" Song Qingqiao frowned, slowly opening her eyes. The room was pitch black. Had it really gone to be nighttime? Sheng Yu's voice was low as he repeated the question. "Where are you right now?" "I'm at a hotel. What's wrong?" Song Qingqiao asked weakly, clutching her still throbbing stomach. "Address." "What?" "I'm coming to find you." Song Qingqiao was stunned. She felt like she hadn't fully woken up. "You're coming to find me?" "Yes. I've already arrived in Jin City." "You? Give me the address." Sheng Yu's tone carried an unprecedented assertiveness. Song Qingqiao froze for a moment, then subconsciously reported the hotel address. The person on the other end uttered 2 words, then hurriedly hung up. "Wait for me. Wait for me. Wait for me." Sheng Yu's words still echoed in Song Qingqiao's ears. "How'd he get here?" 20 minutes later, the male protagonist, whose arrival had utterly baffled Song Qingqiao, personally came to explain. Sheng Yu entered, travel-worn, carrying a bag. He carefully scrutinized her, and seeing her pale face, his own expression darkened. "Have you had dinner?" "Not yet." Song Qingqiao shook her head. Sheng Yu placed the bag on the table and turned to boil water. "All right, take your medicine first. Dinner is on its way and will be here soon." Song Qingqiao stared his sweat-dampened back and voiced the doubt in her heart. "How did you get here?" Sheng Yu, his back to her, said coldly, "I came by car." Song Qingqiao curved her lips silently. She took a few steps forward and wrapped her arms around his waist from behind. Feeling his muscles suddenly tighten, Song Qingqiao chuckled softly, slipping her hand under his shirt and gently caressing his damp abdomen, her fingertips lightly tracing the clear outline of his muscles. "I meant, why did you come to Jean City? Did you miss me?" Sheng Yu's breathing hitched. He grabbed her mischievous hand. "I came to bring you medicine." With her hand restrained and unable to move, Song Qingqiao opened her mouth and bit his shoulder through his clothes. "Let go." Sheng Yu let out a soft groan. Song Qingqiao acted mischievously. "I'm sick, you have to humor me." Sheng Yu fell silent, then slowly released her hand after a long moment. Song Qingqiao chuckled softly and continued her teasing. Watching him tilt his head back slightly, unable to resist her provocations, and feeling his tensed muscles, Song Qingqiao's mouth inexplicably felt dry. "Such a good boy. So how did you think of bringing me medicine? Could it be telepathy? You filled in my address for the medicine delivery, so..." Sheng Yu's strong, powerful chest rapidly rose and fell with her movements, his low gasps and the sound of boiling water constantly drumming in both their ears. Only then did Song Qingqiao remember that she had ordered takeout for Sheng Yu several times recently. When her stomachache struck, she was so dazed with pain that she forgot to change the address. Lost in her thoughts, her hand unconsciously moved further down. Song Qingqiao, don't move." Sheng Yu firmly gripped her wrist, preventing her from encroaching any further. His movement conveyed an undeniable refusal, but his husky voice, tinged with desire, sounded exceptionally sensual. Song Qingqiao's heart trembled. She couldn't even feel the discomfort in her stomach. She licked her dry lips, her eyes darkening, as if the night's passion hung heavy in the air. Song Qingqiao said, I want to kiss you." Sheng Yu's breath hitched. At that moment, the water finished boiling and the kettle clicked off. At the same time, it was as if a switch had been flicked. Song Qingqiao only felt a blur before her eyes. Then she was pressed against the bar. Song Qingqiao's hands instinctively hooked around Sheng Yu's neck, and Sheng Yu lowered his head, kissing her lips. Lips and teeth met, locked in a fervent embrace. Song Qingqiao was dissatisfied with the tiring position. Muffled sounds escaped her lips. "My neck hurts." Sheng Yu didn't stop his actions, scooping her up and pressing her against the door. Song Qingqiao gave a satisfied, muffled laugh, wrapping her arms around his neck and responding passionately. The atmosphere grew increasingly intimate. Just as everything was spiraling towards an uncontrollable direction, a knock on the door startled the two behind it. Song Qingqiao, in particular, subconsciously clamped her legs together, and a muffled groan escaped him. The knocking suddenly stopped. The next moment, a staff member's embarrassed voice reminded them. "Guest in 1511, your takeout has been left at the door. Please remember to open the door and get it." Then, the world fell back into an eerie silence. Inside, the two looked into each other's eyes. Song Qingqiao clearly felt the change in Sheng Yu's body. Sheng Yu hastily retreated a few feet, his lips slightly swollen, hot breaths escaping, his dark eyes ablaze with raw desire he hadn't yet managed to conceal. Song Qingqiao narrowed her eyes. "You?" Sheng Yu glared at her warningly, but his entire handsome face was flushed crimson. Song Qingqiao leaned on his shoulder, laughing uncontrollably, her fingers lightly flicking his earlobe, red, as if bleeding. "Don't be shy. These are normal reactions. It just means you're..." Before she could finish, she felt the hands supporting her thighs suddenly tighten. Song Qingqiao extended the tip of her tongue and licked his hot earlobe. "It means you're very healthy, very active. I like it a lot." Sheng Yu clenched his back molars, barely restraining himself from making any embarrassing sounds. He took a deep breath. "Dinner's here. Let's eat first." Song Qingqiao's eyes were ambiguous, and she whispered seductively, "Actually, I'm not hungry at all. We don't have to eat dinner. We can eat something else first." Sheng Yu tried to ignore the deeper meaning in her words, carrying her in big strides towards the bed. Song Qingqiao raised an eyebrow, a hint of surprise in her eyes, but the next moment she was gently placed on the bed, and then he quickly retreated. "Eat first," Sheng Yu said, then swiftly went to open the door for the takeout. The opportunity that was almost seized slipped away. Song Qingqiao thought she would be disappointed, but she wasn't. She felt a warm, soft, wonderful sensation in her heart. Sheng Yu arranged the takeout, all mild, easily digestible food, but very generous. Sheng Yu handed her the chopsticks. Eat quickly, then take your stomach medicine after dinner. Song Qingqiao took them, then glanced downwards at his abdomen. Sheng Yu's body stiffened. Song Qingqiao lowered her gaze and lightly coughed. The restroom is over there. Otherwise, Sheng Yu, Song Qingqiao. Although his pants were uncomfortably tight, Sheng Yu still didn't go to the restroom. Nevertheless, he was frowning throughout the meal. After helping Song Qingqiao finish her meal, Sheng Yu took her leftovers and finished them himself. He then dutifully cleaned up the trash, poured Song Qingqiao a glass of water, and prepared her medication, placing it by her hand. Sheng Yu reminded her, "Remember to take your medicine in half an hour." Song Qingqiao looked at him in confusion. "Are you leaving?" Sheng Yu explained, "No, I'm not leaving. I'll go downstairs in a bit to book another room. If you need anything tonight, just call me." Song Qingqiao asked, "Why book another room?" Sheng Yu didn't understand what Song Qingqiao meant. Song Qingqiao looked at him with a mischievous smile. "2 rooms are such a waste. And if I feel unwell tonight, it would be quite inconvenient if you were in another room." Sheng Yu's heart pounded uncontrollably. He understood. Song Qingqiao meant for him to stay. Sheng Yu tried to maintain his composure. "It's fine, you can call me if..." Song Qingqiao hooked her finger around his. "I want you to stay and keep me company." Sheng Yu lowered his gaze, staring at her action. His Adam's apple bobbed. The words of refusal he had been about to say turned into, "Okay." After saying it, seeing Song Qingqiao's mischievous grin, a flicker of exasperation crossed Sheng Yu's eyes. He'd been tricked again. Song Qingqiao glanced at the time. "It's getting late. You should go shower first." Sheng Yu casually acknowledged, then suddenly reacted, "Shower?" Song Qingqiao initially didn't understand his meaning, but her gaze swept over his nervous expression, and she immediately understood. Song Qingqiao suppressed a laugh. "Yes, remember to wash well, get all clean and fragrant." Sheng Yu's gaze deepened, his lips pressed tightly together, looking stubbornly as if he were being forced into an unseemly act. His tone was serious. "I don't think this is appropriate." Song Qingqiao knew perfectly well he had misunderstood, but couldn't resist teasing him. "What's not appropriate? Don't you want to?" "I do." Sheng Yu averted his gaze, staring at the curtains, his jawline taut. "But you're still sick, and we haven't made our relationship official yet." Song Qingqiao pretended to ponder for a moment. A stomach ache doesn't affect it, and not being official doesn't affect it either. Sheng Yu's face darkened, his cold gaze snapping to her, a daunting pressure emanating from him. "Song Qingqiao, what do you mean?" Song Qingqiao's heart skipped a beat. She thought, "This young man is quite intimidating when he's angry. But he seems even more handsome." Song Qingqiao thought mischievously. Seeing her stare at him silently for a long time, Sheng Yu's heart sank, and he felt cold all over. What did Song Qingqiao's words mean? Did she just want to sleep with him and not be in a relationship? Song Qingqiao came back to herself, wanted to tease him more, only to realize his eyes were red and his body was trembling slightly. He looked incredibly sad and wronged. "I made him cry." Song Qingqiao quickly stood up, hugged him, and coaxed, "I just saw you've been running around a lot today and sweating, so I wanted you to have a good shower to feel more comfortable. I didn't mean anything else." Sheng Yu paused, his gaze softening slightly. "Then just now I only told you to take a shower. Where did your mind go?" Song Qingqiao's gaze was clear, as if she truly meant what she said, but inwardly she was marveling. How could someone be so easy to coax, so well-behaved? It makes me want to bully him even more. A hint of annoyance flashed in Sheng Yu's eyes, and his expression held a dangerous edge. Song Qingqiao feigned a sigh. "It hasn't been that long. How has your mind been corrupted by the secular world like this?" Sheng Yu felt aggrieved, but couldn't articulate it. He lowered his head and bit her lip with resentment. Song Qingqiao winced in pain, hissing and pinched his waist. "You're the one with the dirty mind. Why bite me?" Sheng Yu didn't dwell on the misunderstanding. Instead, he pursed his lips and stared straight at her. "Song Qingqiao, do you like me?" His sudden directness made Song Qingqiao pause. Then she calmly smiled. "Do you think if I didn't like you, I'd let you kiss me?" Sheng Yu's eyes instantly brightened, as if concealing countless stars, so beautiful that one couldn't bear to look away. But he was too young and inexperienced after all. Otherwise, he should at least have understood the difference between a rhetorical question and a formal, direct answer. And this kind of ambiguous answer was precisely what Song Qingqiao excelled at. Sheng Yu opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but Song Qingqiao stood on tiptoes and kissed him. Sheng Yu immediately responded with an excited kiss, like a child who had received a reward. After watching Song Qingqiao take her medicine, the change of clothes Sheng Yu order arrived. Only then did he take his bathrobe and go to shower. Song Qingqiao watched his retreating figure and couldn't help but smile. While Sheng Yu was showering, Song Qingqiao opened her laptop and continued organizing documents. She was usually focused when she worked, but today was slightly different. Listening to the rushing water from the bathroom, she almost got distracted several times. Just as she finally managed to concentrate for a while, the bathroom door opened, and Sheng Yu emerged, wrapped tightly in his bathrobe. He was tall, and his bathrobe only reached just above his knees, revealing straight calves. Song Qingqiao's gaze moved up. Well, he's very guarded. Sheng Yu felt a little uncomfortable under Song Qingqiao's gaze, but he still walked up to her and said disapprovingly, "You need to rest properly now. I thought it was still early, so I wanted to finish organizing the documents. You can organize them tomorrow." "All right, I'll listen to you." Song Qingqiao stood up and tugged at the tie of his bathrobe, releasing it before he could react. "How'd you tie a knot so tight?" "Sheng Yu, I didn't notice." Song Qingqiao didn't expose him. Instead, she stood on tiptoes and buried her face in the crook of his neck, sniffing. "You smell very good. All right, I'm going to take a shower now." Sheng Yu stiffly mmm'd and moved aside to let her pass. When Song Qingqiao emerged from the bathroom after her shower, wearing a shirt-style nightgown, she found Sheng Yu hadn't gotten into bed. Instead, he was sitting on a chair, staring blankly at his phone, deep in thought, not even noticing she had come out. Song Qingqiao tiptoed closer and pinched his ear. "Why aren't you in bed resting?" Sheng Yu pulled her hand, feigning composure. "I'm not sleepy yet. Since you're not sleepy, help me with something." "What is it?" Song Qingqiao pushed a bottle of body lotion into his hand. "Help me apply some body lotion." Sheng Yu's hand, clutching the bottle, suddenly tightened. Luckily, the cap was on tight. Otherwise, the body lotion would have squirted 3 meters away. Song Qingqiao acted as if she hadn't noticed his unusual reaction, sat on the bed, and lifted her leg to rest it on his thigh. Sure enough, the muscles in a certain someone's thigh suddenly tensed. Song Qingqiao deliberately yawned and urged, "Hurry up." Sheng Yu wasn't stupid. Of course, he understood that Song Qingqiao was doing this on purpose, but finally, the statue-like figure moved. His gaze slowly fell on her fair foot, then he slowly opened the body lotion, about to squeeze it on her foot. "Wait!" Song Qingqiao stopped him at the right moment. Sheng Yu looked up in confusion, his gaze suddenly freezing. Her sitting posture caused her nightgown to slide up to the top of her thighs, exposing her long, slender, fair legs completely to his view, gleaming with a delicate luster under the light. Song Qingqiao calmly explained how to apply body lotion. "You should first squeeze the body lotion into your palm, then rub it between both hands, and then apply it evenly to the skin. Rub it in the palm. Apply it evenly." Sheng Yu narrowed his eyes. The images that flashed through his mind, just thinking about them, inexplicably brought a wave of heat to his core. Outside, the night deepened, and the city no longer bustled with the daytime noise. In the room, a pair of healthy, tanned hands gently stroked an ankle that could be gripped in one hand, slowly moving up to a fair, delicate calf. His forearms, with their bulging veins, contrasted sharply with her smooth calves. This strong visual contrast, coupled with the extreme difference in color, created an unspoken intimacy in a scene that wasn't overtly provocative. By the time both legs were moisturized, Sheng Yu was drenched in sweat, his forehead covered in tiny beads. He exuded an inexplicable air of sensuality. "Okay, it's done." His voice was hoarse with suppressed emotion. Song Qingqiao wasn't feeling much better. Her throat felt like it was smoking. "This is body lotion, not leg cream." Sheng Yu looked up, meeting her burning gaze. His eyes darkened, and his Adam's apple bobbed restlessly. "Apply it yourself." Song Qingqiao paused, then let out a soft laugh, gently tapping his thigh with her toe. Playing dumb, she asked why. "Do you really not want to?" Song Qingqiao. No." "What? You're still sick." Song Qingqiao blinked, still not quite processing, when her ankle was suddenly grasped. His palm was burning hot, as if it could melt her. Sheng Yu's voice grew even hoarser, his ears flushed red. "When you're feeling better?" He didn't finish, but Song Qingqiao understood. Sheng Yu picked her up and tucked her into the covers. "Sleep." Song Qingqiao smiled. "Okay, sleep." Sheng Yu didn't get into bed. Instead, he turned and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" "The bathroom." Sheng Yu calmly dropped these 3 words and entered the bathroom. Song Qingqiao paused, then fell back onto the bed laughing. She couldn't help but picture Sheng Yu's outwardly composed face, while behind the scenes, he was red-eared and vexed, punching the wall. The sound of water in the bathroom finally stopped after 20 minutes. The bathroom door opened, and Sheng Yu emerged, carrying a chill with him, still tightly wrapped in his bathrobe. Song Qingqiao didn't bring up the previous topic again, nor did she ask why he took so long. She simply put down her phone and said calmly, "Let's go to sleep." Sheng Yu nodded and got into bed wearing his bathrobe. Song Qingqiao said helplessly, "You're not planning to sleep in your bathrobe, are you?" Sheng Yu mimmed. "Are you afraid I have designs on you?" "No." "Then why? Are you embarrassed?" "Of course not." "Then take off your bathrobe and sleep." Sheng Yu. That night, Song Qingqiao slept very well. That night, Sheng Yu suffered immensely. Especially since Song Qingqiao wasn't a still sleeper. She burrowed into his arms almost immediately, rubbing against him, fanning his internal fire all night. Several times, he wanted to go to the bathroom for a cold shower, but fearing he would wake her, he had to suppress the urge. Not until dawn did Sheng Yu finally drift into a drowsy sleep. This also led to Sheng Yu, who was always unusually energetic, waking up late for the first time ever. At 7 in the morning, Song Qingqiao woke up to find Sheng Yu still asleep. She rolled over and stared at his profile, her gaze tracing his delicate features inch by inch. She secretly mused that even beautiful people were a pleasure to behold when sleeping. Song Qingqiao's fingers brushed over his eyebrows, eyes, nose bridge, and lips, then traveled down to his long neck, lightly grazing his prominent Adam's apple. She paused briefly before moving to his exquisite collarbone. Song Qingqiao had noticed last night when he took off his bathrobe that Sheng Yu had an excellent physique, not only perfect muscle definition, but also superb body proportions. For the first time, Song Qingqiao found herself truly desiring a man's body. As Song Qingqiao recalled the scene from last night, her fingers slipped under the covers, her fingertip gently brushed against a firm spot. Just then, the sleeping man suddenly let out a soft groan, his breathing quickening slightly. Song Qingqiao snapped back to reality and abruptly noticed a distinct bulge under the normally flat duvet. Realizing what it was, Song Qingqiao couldn't help but burst into laughter. The person beside her gradually woke up, first looking at the trembling Song Qingqiao with confusion, then noticing the abnormality in his own body, and stiffened. Song Qingqiao poked him, saying with a double meaning, "Awake already? You look quite energetic. Seems like you slept well last night." Sheng Yu's face darkened. As he held her hand, he propped up one leg to block her view, gritting his teeth, "Don't move around." His husky voice, it was hard to tell if it was from morning drowsiness or the dry frustration of unfulfilled desire. Song Qingqiao loved this contrast in him, fierce on the surface, yet secretly flushing at the ears. Song Qingqiao smirked and leaned closer, gently blowing into his ear. As expected, she saw the skin from his ear to his neck turn crimson. "There are precautions in the room. If you want, we can." Song Qingqiao gestured towards the small blue box on the bedside table. Sheng Yu turned his head to glance at it, frowning. He said seriously, "Your body hasn't fully recovered yet." Song Qingqiao felt a little stifled, then let out a laugh. "Fine, let's see how long you can hold out." "All right, I won't tease you anymore. Let go of my hand. I have work to do that I need for this afternoon." Sheng Yu sighed in relief, the grip on her hand loosening slightly. Out of his sight, a flicker of mischief appeared in Song Qingqiao's eyes. She slowly pulled her hand back, and, just as it was about to slip free, her thumb and forefinger tightened, giving a firm pinch to a sensitive spot. Caught completely off guard, Sheng Yu's body stiffened, and a deeply sensual muffled groan vibrated in his throat. Song Qingqiao's gaze was clear, her eyes innocent. "Oops, big sister didn't mean it." With that, she carelessly withdrew her hand, preparing to get out of bed. Unexpectedly, as soon as she moved, the bed beneath her suddenly lurched. Song Qingqiao's vision blurred, and when she regained her senses, she found herself pinned down, a hot body pressing against her, enveloped by a thick scent of male hormones. Song Qingqiao's breath caught, her face inexplicably flushed, her heart pounding. Sheng Yu looked down at her, his gaze deep and intense. The more he looked, the more she needed to be taught a lesson. Sheng Yu gnashed his aching teeth, then glanced at the blue box on the bedside table, his expression a mix of conflict and dissatisfaction. Noticing his unusual behavior, Song Qingqiao reached up to hook her arms around his neck, planning to fan the flames further. "What's wrong? Didn't you learn before? Or didn't you quite get it?" Sheng Yu pulled his gaze back to meet her provocative eyes, a cold smile playing on his lips. "What is big sister worried about?" Song Qingqiao was slightly surprised. Oh, she really did annoy him. Big sister isn't worried. She's concerned. Sheng Yu observed her mischievous smile, then chuckled. Mimicking how she used to tease him, he leaned in close to her ear and whispered, "Does big sister know why I'm hesitating?" Song Qingqiao felt a tingling sensation all over her body, as if tiny currents were running wild within her. She forced herself to remain calm. "Are you shy for the first time?" "Eh no." "Then why?" Sheng Yu parted his lips, pressing them close to her ear and mouth. Wrong size. Song Qingqiao's body trembled slightly, her mind hazy. She felt as though she didn't understand his words. What wrong size? Sheng Yu frowned, then suddenly shifted his weight down, pressing their bodies tightly together. Song Qingqiao's eyes widened instantly, her legs suddenly clamping together. Sheng Yu let out a grunt, veins bulging on the side of his neck, his expression restrained and enduring, his voice impossibly hoarse. Big sister, do you understand now? Of course, Song Qingqiao understood. She just hadn't expected the little wolf dog to be so exceptionally gifted. 3 minutes later, Song Qingqiao sat on the bed, her face flushed, wrapped in a duvet. Her mind replayed Sheng Yu's eyes, brimming with desire, his gaze, his breath, every part of him filled with an aggressiveness that felt as if he wanted to devour her alive, without a single unnecessary movement, yet so alluring, so full of desire. Song Qingqiao patted her burning cheeks, afraid of losing control, trying to clear her head. The sound of rushing water came from the bathroom, and this time, it lasted longer than last night. After the morning's events, the atmosphere between them subtly shifted. This change primarily came from Sheng Yu. He seemed to have suddenly gotten it, no longer letting Song Qingqiao be the only one doing the teasing. Instead, he responded and initiated with a touch of shyness, which both surprised and delighted Song Qingqiao. In the afternoon, Song Qingqiao went to meet a client, telling Sheng Yu to wait obediently in the room. Sheng Yu saw her off after a series of warnings and reminders. After spending some time together, Sheng Yu understood Song Qingqiao's temperament. She would readily agree verbally, but might not actually take the advice to heart. Worried that Song Qingqiao's stomach illness might flare up again, Sheng Yu hesitated for a moment, then also left. At this moment, Song Qingqiao was presenting the organized documents to her client, including the evidence of the other party's infidelity sent by the client. She selected the usable parts and analyzed the likelihood of proving infidelity. At the same time, she displayed the disputed assets, as well as the possibilities and percentages of successfully claiming them. The client nodded repeatedly, highly approving of Song Qingqiao's professional capability. Just then, a man in a suit emerged from inside, surrounded by a group of people. Compared to the flattering and fawning postures of others, his expression appeared extremely aloof. "Lawyer Gu, thank you so much for this matter. Without you, our company would have suffered untold losses. I've already made arrangements. Tonight, let's first have dinner, and then go for a couple of drinks to relax." When he said, "relax," the middle-aged man let out a laugh that men understood. Someone immediately echoed, "Yes, yes, Lawyer Gu, you must honor us with your presence." "Mr. Li, Mr. Zhou, you're too kind. This is simply what I should do. We can discuss the follow-up issues of the case over dinner, but as for drinks, I'll have to pass. I need to return to A City tonight, and there isn't enough time." The man, surrounded by others, spoke in a cool, emotionless voice. "Oh, right. Lawyer Gu is getting engaged soon, of course. He needs to go back and accompany his fiancée. In that case, we won't keep you. When Lawyer Gu gets engaged, we'll surely show our appreciation properly." The man was about to say something when his peripheral vision caught sight of a familiar figure, and he suddenly paused, a subtle shift appearing in his otherwise calm eyes. Someone noticed his unusual behavior and asked with concern, "Lawyer Gu, what's wrong?" "Nothing." Immediately, the group left in a grand procession. Song Qingqiao and her client had also finished their discussion. The client, very happy, took her hand and said she wanted to treat her to dinner and introduce her to 2 friends. Song Qingqiao thought of Sheng Yu, who was waiting for her, and hesitated. However, friends introduced in such settings could very likely become hidden clients for her, and Song Qingqiao didn't want to miss the opportunity, so she ultimately nodded and agreed. So, Song Qingqiao sent Sheng Yu a WeChat message, telling him she had a social engagement that evening and would be back later. Sheng Yu sat on the steps in front of the coffee shop in trance, his thick brows furrowed as he read Song Qingqiao's message. Although he rarely attended social engagements himself, he knew very well that all such events involved drinking. Thinking of Song Qingqiao's health, Sheng Yu didn't want her to go, but he knew Song Qingqiao wouldn't listen. He could only repeatedly remind Song Qingqiao to watch her diet and not drink alcohol. Song Qingqiao looked at the messages Sheng Yu sent on her phone and couldn't help but curve her lips into a smile. "Song Qingqiao, business is business, but no drinking. No spicy food. Otherwise, if your stomach illness acts up again, I won't care about you." She had just finished reading it when the message was recalled, and then another one was sent with the last 2 sentences removed. Song Qingqiao could imagine Sheng Yu's expression when he sent that message. Definitely stern-faced, brows furrowed, looking fierce, yet unable to hide the worry in his heart. Song Qingqiao replied, "Got it. I'll listen to you. You eat well too." After receiving the message, Sheng Yu chuckled, the pleasure on his face completely unconcealed. At 5:30 p.m., Song Qingqiao arrived at the reserved restaurant with her client. She didn't know that Sheng Yu hadn't eaten properly. Instead, he was sitting on a stone stool next to the restaurant, clutching a jianbing guozi. Just as he was taking big bites of his jianbing guozi, 3 luxury cars drove up. A honk of the horn startled Sheng Yu, and he unhappily looked up. Through the lowered car window, his gaze met that of an ice-faced man. Both frowned simultaneously. It was strange. They clearly didn't know each other, but they tacitly found the other quite annoying, so they mutually disliked what they saw and averted their gazes. Just then, the cars stopped, and several men in suits got out, chatting and laughing as they surrounded the ice-faced man and walked into the restaurant. Sheng Yu was too lazy to bother with them. He continued eating his jianbing guozi while scrolling through his WeChat chat history with Song Qingqiao. In the private room, Song Qingqiao chatted merrily with her client and 2 friends the client had invited. To show his gratitude to Song Qingqiao, the client specifically raised his glass to toast her. Song Qingqiao didn't hesitate to pick up her glass, exchange pleasantries customary at a drinking table, and clinked glasses with him. As he put down his glass, one of the client's friends suddenly mentioned, I just came back from the restroom and saw President Li and his team from Yunzhou Development next door. They just secured a plot of land and are planning to build an economical residential complex with fitted interiors. Should we go over and take a look? Song Qingqiao's client, who owned an interior design company, immediately perked up at the news. The group discussed going over to offer a toast. This matter originally had nothing to do with Song Qingqiao, but the client felt it would be rude to leave her behind, so he pulled her along. The 4 of them arrived at the adjacent private room, knocked, and entered. Song Qingqiao, clutching her slightly aching stomach, followed at the back. Before she even fully entered, she heard a lively exchange of greetings among a group of people. Just as she was about to hide in a corner and pretend to be invisible, she suddenly felt a cool gaze fall upon her. Following the gaze, her eyes met a familiar pair, as indifferent and distant as ever. It was him, Gu Yunsu. He hadn't changed much in the few months they hadn't seen each other. After all, they had known each other for some time, and although their relationship was somewhat special compared to a typical mentor-mentee dynamic, he hadn't treated her unfairly during those years, and she had largely achieved what she sought. Thus, Song Qingqiao had no intention of severing ties completely. Song Qingqiao, with a slight smile, nodded subtly at Gu Yunsu, maintaining a polite yet distant demeanor. It was clearly the most appropriate way for them to meet, yet Gu Yunsu instinctively frowned, an inexplicable discomfort rising within him. However, Gu Yunsu didn't dwell on it, and likewise nodded at Song Qingqiao with a smile. Unexpectedly, President Li, who was in the midst of greetings, noticed Gu Yunsu's gesture and enthusiastically asked, Does Attorney Gu know this lady? That single question drew everyone's attention to the 2 of them. Gu Yunsu calmly replied, Yes, a former colleague. Song Qingqiao smiled and nodded, confirming Gu Yunsu's answer. President Li chuckled. So, she's Attorney Gu's colleague. What a coincidence to find familiar faces. Since that's the case, let's take advantage of this rare opportunity today and all have a drink together. The private room immediately became even livelier. Though they weren't well acquainted, everyone still shared a drink, chatted for a while, and then dispersed. Back in their own private room, Song Qingqiao felt her stomach cramping violently. She forced a smile, greeted her client, and then stood up to head to the restroom. The pain in her stomach grew increasingly intense. Song Qingqiao's face turned pale, and fine beads of sweat appeared on her forehead. Just as she was about to turn and enter the restroom, she bumped into a firm chest. I'm sorry, Song Qingqiao apologized instinctively, but then caught a familiar cool, minty scent. She instantly recognized the person in front of her. What's wrong? Gu Yunsu's cool voice sounded in her ear. Song Qingqiao tried to suppress her discomfort, took 2 steps back, straightened her back, and said politely, Oh, it's Attorney Gu. Gu Yunsu ignored her aloofness and observed her complexion. Are you feeling unwell? Song Qingqiao smiled faintly. No, I just feel a bit dizzy from the alcohol. Attorney Gu must be busy, so I won't bother you. As she spoke, Song Qingqiao tried to step past him and leave, but her wrist was seized by a slightly cool large hand. Song Qingqiao paused, trying to pull her hand back, but it was held even tighter. She could only politely ask, Is there something else, Attorney Gu? Gu Yunsu's handsome, long brows furrowed tightly, and the uncomfortable feeling in his heart resurfaced. You look very unwell. Don't push yourself if you're not feeling good. Song Qingqiao nodded. I know. Thank you for your concern, Attorney Gu. A hint of irritation colored Gu Yunsu's cool eyes. Song Qingqiao, must you be like this? Song Qingqiao didn't know what was bothering him, but whatever it was, she wasn't in the mood to deal with it. She was in so much pain she was breaking out in a cold sweat, and her efforts to endure it made her expression appear even colder. What do you mean by that? Attorney Gu. Gu Yunsu met her extremely indifferent eyes, and his heart gave a sharp pang. His slender fingers idly tugged at his tie. Do you have time? I want to talk to you. Song Qingqiao raised an eyebrow slightly, thinking this person certainly knows how to pick his moments. However, recalling her past interactions with Gu Yunsu, Song Qingqiao asked, "Is Attorney Gu going to introduce me to a client?" Gu Yunsu's face instantly darkened. Is this all we can ever talk about? After all, they had been together for several years, and even without a formal title, they knew each other intimately. Compared to his usual self, Gu Yunsu today was arguably losing his composure. As for the reason for his unusual behavior, Song Qingqiao didn't want to delve into it, because it was meaningless. Gu Yunsu also calmed down somewhat. His emotions gradually reined in. How have you been doing recently? How have I been doing? Song Qingqiao suddenly thought of Sheng Yu. Her heart softened, and the corners of her lips unconsciously curved upwards. I'm doing very well, and I believe Attorney Gu is too. I heard you're getting engaged next week, so congratulations in advance. Gu Yunsu stared at the genuine smile on her lips, slightly taken aback. A sudden question arose in his mind. What had she just thought of to display such an expression? Was it something or someone? Gu Yunsu suddenly spoke. Song Qingqiao. Song Qingqiao looked at him questioningly. Their eyes met. Gu Yunsu's lips moved, words about to spill out, but they were interrupted by a young yet deep voice. Song Qingqiao. Song Qingqiao turned her head to see Sheng Yu standing at the end of the corridor, his thick brows furrowed, staring intently at the two of them with a stern expression. Gu Yunsu also followed Song Qingqiao's gaze, and the moment he saw who it was, his brow furrowed fiercely. He recognized that face. He had seen him not long ago in front of a restaurant. A man who had instantly disgusted him upon their first meeting. Sheng Yu strode forward, his gaze dropping to Song Qingqiao's held wrist. The atmospheric pressure around him abruptly dropped, and his eyes grew even colder. Clearly, compared to Gu Yunsu's aversion to Sheng Yu's impression of Gu Yunsu was only worse. Still some distance from Song Qingqiao, Sheng Yu extended his long arm, wrapped it around her shoulder, and pulled her into his embrace. Song Qingqiao took the opportunity to shake off Gu Yunsu's hand. Gu Yunsu felt the emptiness in his palm, and his heart sank incessantly. He wasn't unaware of Song Qingqiao's past. It had always been nothing more than a game, something no one took seriously. But this time, he felt an inexplicable unease. Sheng Yu caught a faint whiff of alcohol. He immediately lowered his head to examine Song Qingqiao, and seeing her pale face, the anger in his eyes deepened. "You've been drinking?" Song Qingqiao knew he was angry. She subtly pinched the soft flesh around his waist, signaling him to say less, and asked, "Why are you here?" "You weren't replying to my messages, so I was worried about you, and came to check." Sheng Yu raised his eyes and glanced at Gu Yunsu, tightening the arm around Song Qingqiao's shoulder. "It's a good thing I came." Sheng Yu's possessiveness was undisguised, as was his hostility towards Gu Yunsu. "Excuse me, sir, Song Qingqiao is not feeling well, so it's not convenient for her to continue chatting with you." Compared to Sheng Yu's overt emotions, Gu Yunsu's expression showed almost no change, except that when he heard Song Qingqiao was unwell, he scrutinized her for a moment. "Are you feeling unwell?" The question was directed at Song Qingqiao, but before she could speak, Sheng Yu interjected, "It's so obvious. And you didn't even notice?" Gu Yunsu raised his eyes to Sheng Yu, and their gazes met over Song Qingqiao's head, as if crackling electricity collided between them. Song Qingqiao sensed the tension and quickly spoke up. "It's not really unwell, just a bit dizzy from the alcohol. Attorney Gu is busy, so he won't trouble you. We'll meet again another day." After speaking, Song Qingqiao pinched Sheng Yu's waist again, signaling him to leave quickly. Sheng Yu gave a soft snort, deliberately lowering his voice, but ensuring every word reached Gu Yunsu's ears without fail. "Baby, pinch gently, my waist is almost bruised from you." Gu Yunsu's eyes darkened, and his expression finally changed. Song Qingqiao was almost amused by Sheng Yu's antics. This guy. Song Qingqiao shot him a warning glare. "If you're afraid of getting bruised, then hurry up and leave." Sheng Yu grinned, showing a row of white teeth, and subtly nodded at Gu Yunsu. "Excuse me, sir. Qingqiao is in a hurry to leave, so we'll take our leave first." Gu Yunsu ignored Sheng Yu. Instead, he lowered his gaze to Song Qingqiao and extended his hand to her. "Let's talk again when you have time." Song Qingqiao was about to politely shake his hand when Sheng Yu already reached out, grasping Gu Yunsu's hand firmly. Another day, their gazes met again, and the hands locked together unconsciously increased their grip. Bones pressed against each other, making cracking sounds that were somewhat unnerving. Song Qingqiao sighed softly, leaned close to Sheng Yu's ear, and whispered, "Let go when you've had enough. My stomach hurts." Sheng Yu, who had originally seemed eager to tear the other's hand off, suddenly sobered up. He released his grip, looked at her worriedly, and immediately scooped her up into his arms, hurrying back the way they came. "I'm taking you to the hospital." "Wait, put me down first." "To the hospital?" "No." "Song Qingqiao, can you just listen? Can you let me finish my sentence?" Sheng Yu suppressed his annoyance and said, "Go on." Song Qingqiao sighed helplessly. "I need to go back to the private room to get my bag and tell the client before I can leave. Otherwise, it's impolite." Sheng Yu paused. "Which private room?" Song Qingqiao told him the room number and location. Sheng Yu, carrying her, quickly rushed towards the private room. This time, Song Qingqiao really did feel dizzy, but not from drinking. It was from being jostled by him. Gu Yunsu stared at their retreating figures, secretly clenching his right hand, which was numb from the grip. After a long moment, he pulled out his phone and dialed his assistant's number. "Help me look into who Song Qingqiao has been close with recently." On the other end of the line, the assistant agreed without hesitation, then reminded him, "Attorney Gu, Madam asked me to remind you not to forget to accompany Miss Fong for her dress fitting tomorrow." That brief reminder instantly sobered Gu Yunsu. He felt his actions today had been somewhat inexplicable. Gu Yunsu closed his eyes and took a deep breath, his emotions gradually calming. "Got it. Also, you don't need to investigate Song Qingqiao." Although the assistant found it a bit strange, he still acknowledged it. Late in the evening, Song Qingqiao was in the hospital again. Sheng Yu stayed by her side. Although he didn't show any particular emotion, even caring for her meticulously, Song Qingqiao knew Sheng Yu was displeased. After receiving the foredrip, Song Qingqiao felt better. She reached out to pull him, wanting to coax the sulking young wolf dog. Sheng Yu lowered his gaze to the hand holding him, then pulled back slightly. Seeing Song Qingqiao frown, he paused, averted his face, and then offered his hand forward. Sheng Yu said in a cold voice, "Don't move around. Rest properly." Song Qingqiao pursed her lips. "I can only rest properly if you stay with me." Sheng Yu hummed in response. "I can only rest properly if you stay with me," Song Qingqiao repeated. Sheng Yu looked at her, puzzled. Song Qingqiao shifted to the other side of the bed, clearing a small space. Sheng Yu stared at the empty spot on the bed for a couple of seconds, then looked at Song Qingqiao, the confusion clearly visible in his eyes. Song Qingqiao smiled. "Come up." Sheng Yu's Adam's apple bobbed. "You won't rest well." Song Qingqiao urged. "No, I'll rest better if you hold me." Sheng Yu fell silent. Just as Song Qingqiao thought Sheng Yu would find another excuse to decline, he obediently sat on the edge of the bed, took off his shoes, and got onto the bed. He turned on his side to embrace her, his large hand resting on her back, patting her gently. Song Qingqiao buried her face in his chest and rubbed against him. Sheng Yu didn't have that refined scent that made one feel exquisite with a single whiff, yet it inexplicably brought a sense of peace. Song Qingqiao sighed softly, sensing the unnatural stiffness in his body. She reached out and wrapped her arms around his waist, kneading him with gentle pressure. "How did you find me today?" Song Qingqiao asked. Sheng Yu's voice was a little hoarse. "I followed you." "What?" Song Qingqiao looked up in surprise, her gaze sweeping inch by inch over his delicate features. "You've been following me?" Song Qingqiao saw his Adam's apple quiver slightly, emitting a low, deep Song Qingqiao leaned in and kissed his Adam's apple. Sheng Yu's body became even stiffer. "Song Qingqiao." Sheng Yu's voice carried a strong warning. Song Qingqiao acted as if she hadn't noticed. "Why?" Sheng Yu stopped talking. Only his breathing grew heavier. Song Qingqiao probably guessed his intention, but deliberately misinterpreted him. "To catch me cheating?" As soon as the words left her lips, she was enveloped by a fiery gaze. Sheng Yu warned in a low voice, "Don't talk nonsense." Song Qingqiao smiled carelessly. "I originally wanted to explain, but since you don't care about these things, I won't say anything." With that, Song Qingqiao yawned lazily and closed her eyes. However, his gaze was simply too intense, as if it could melt a person. Song Qingqiao sighed, raising her hand to accurately cover his eyes. "Don't look at me like that. I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself." Sheng Yu didn't move, his thick eyelashes lightly brushing her palm. Song Qingqiao felt a little ticklish and wanted to scratch. Just as Song Qingqiao's thoughts began to wander, Sheng Yu suddenly spoke her name. "Song Qingqiao." Her wrist was clasped by a large, hot hand. Song Qingqiao trembled slightly from the heat, her voice a little unsteady. Sheng Yu's large hand gripping her wrist tightened a bit, pinning her hand behind her back in a restraining posture. Song Qingqiao's eyes snapped open. his exquisitely handsome face rapidly magnified before her, his ink-black eyes locking onto her, full of aggression. Then, two soft, tender lips pressed tightly against hers, hot lips and tongue wantonly ravaging, conquering territory. The unpleasant smell of disinfectant seemed to be dispersed by the seductive atmosphere. The cramped single hospital bed groaned under the weight, creaking. In a haze of passion, Song Qingqiao felt a sharp pain in her thigh. Subconsciously, she reached out to push away the culprit, and a low, sexy groan escaped from between their entwined lips and teeth. Song Qingqiao froze, her eyes snapping open, meeting his deep gaze. A tide of emotion surged in his eyes, as if it wanted to devour her. Sheng Yu breathed heavily, pulling a distance between them. "Don't touch me down there." "Song Qingqiao, you." Sheng Yu's eyelashes fluttered. "Once you're better." He didn't finish his sentence, but Song Qingqiao understood. She couldn't help but curve her lips into a smile. Sheng Yu took a deep breath. That person today. The smile on Song Qingqiao's lips faded slightly. "I thought you didn't care." Sheng Yu squeezed her hand hard, saying earnestly, "I care, and I don't care." "What do you mean?" "He's not suitable for you." Song Qingqiao's heart clenched sharply, a coldness staining her brows and eyes. "How do you know he's not suitable for me?" Sheng Yu stared at her silently for a moment, then uttered 4 words, "He's very self-centered." Song Qingqiao raised an eyebrow, surprised that Sheng Yu was quite accurate in his judgment of people. Sheng Yu suddenly said, "Song Qingqiao, I like you. Give me a chance." Song Qingqiao hadn't even reacted when her finger suddenly felt tight. She came back to her senses to find a diamond ring on her middle finger. It was a simple design, but the diamond was very large. Song Qingqiao didn't know that Sheng Yu had bought it from a neighboring store while waiting for her earlier that day. He had kept it in his pocket, originally planning to prepare properly before giving it to her. However, seeing her with another man today, even if that man wasn't suitable for Song Qingqiao, still set off alarm bells in his heart. Now, he only wanted to quickly secure a formal title. That way, the next time he encountered that man, he could legitimately introduce himself as her boyfriend and teach the other party what a man's self-respect meant. Song Qingqiao stretched out her hand and examined it carefully. Although the unfamiliar feeling of restraint made her a little unaccustomed, she couldn't help but smile. Sheng Yu was already nervous, and not knowing why Song Qingqiao was smiling made him even more anxious, so he tightened his grip on her waist in a warning gesture. Song Qingqiao teased, "Who proposes with a diamond ring right after confessing?" Sheng Yu said seriously, "It shouldn't be too casual." Song Qingqiao cupped his face and pecked him on the lips. "I didn't expect you to be quite sentimental, but aren't you asking for my consent? How can you just put it on me without me even agreeing?" Sheng Yu stared at her for a moment, frowning deeply. "You kissed me. And then, you also touched me. I'm not a casual man." "So," Sheng Yu's expression darkened, the possessiveness deep in his eyes almost erupting uncontrollably, yet he forcefully restrained himself at the last moment. "You have to take responsibility for me." His tone was utterly serious. Unfortunately, Song Qingqiao didn't take it to heart at all. For her, while Sheng Yu was different, there was no fundamental distinction. The difference was that this was the first time she had patiently played these games with a man. The lack of difference was that he was just a man after all. No big deal. "All right, I'll take responsibility for you." Song Qingqiao rolled over, pinning Sheng Yu down, and lowered her head to kiss his lips. Sheng Yu restrained himself, responded a few times, then pushed her away with difficulty. Song Qingqiao licked her dry lips, looking very much like a scoundrel enticing an innocent girl's heart and body. She whispered seductively, "I will take responsibility for you." Sheng Yu's Adam's apple bopped. "I know." He reached out and pressed her back onto the bed, then shifted to the side, half his body suspended over the edge of the bed. Song Qingqiao frowned unhappily. Sheng Yu gently patted her back. "You're still in the hospital. Once you're discharged." Song Qingqiao. After all this time, this was the first time Song Qingqiao had repeatedly coveted and been denied meat that was practically at her lips. If she didn't understand Sheng Yu, she might even suspect he was deliberately teasing her. However, the occasion was indeed inappropriate. Song Qingqiao yawned, leaning into Sheng Yu's arms and falling into a deep sleep. Song Qingqiao was supposed to stay in the hospital for 2 more days for observation, taking a small vacation for herself, but someone managed to displease her. When she received Wang Mingjing's call, Song Qingqiao's good mood, which she had gained from coaxing Sheng Yu to feed her porridge, instantly plummeted. However, she was still a little curious why this man, who usually never remembered her, would suddenly call her. Song Qingqiao turned her head, avoiding the spoonful of porridge Sheng Yu brought to her lips. "I'm full." Sheng Yu glanced at the half-full bowl of porridge that remained, frowning. Eating so little, no wonder her stomach wasn't good. Sheng Yu originally wanted to persuade her to eat 2 more bites, but Song Qingqiao didn't give him the chance, picking up her phone and getting out of bed directly. I'm going out to take a call, Song Qingqiao said, walking out without looking back. Sheng Yu turned his head, watching her retreating figure, not understanding why she had to take the call away from him. After the ward door closed, Sheng Yu suddenly recalled the caller ID remark he had just seen. Wang Mingzheng. It was a man. Why did she have to take the call away from him? Could it be that man from yesterday? Sheng Yu's heart sank. He subconsciously took a few steps to follow but stopped just as he reached the door. After a moment of hesitation, he walked back to the bed, put the porridge down, and comforted himself inwardly that everyone had their secrets, and even partners shouldn't pry. He then pulled out his constantly vibrating phone and glanced at it. 99 plus messages, all from Jiangmi. He didn't even bother to look, shoving it back into his pocket. Song Qingqiao stood by the window, watching the clouds floating across the sky, and answered the phone, but she didn't speak first. On the other end of the line, Wang Mingzheng didn't start with accusations as he usually did. Instead, his voice was smiling as he initiated, Qingqiao, are you busy? Song Qingqiao subtly raised an eyebrow, inexplicably sensing a hint of flattery in his tone. However, her reply remained simple and direct. Is something wrong? Nothing much. It's just that our father-daughter duo hasn't seen each other in quite a while, so Dad wanted to ask if you're free this weekend to have a meal together. Song Qingqiao narrowed her eyes slightly, a momentary chill staining the corners of her eyes and brows. This weekend? Yes, Dad remembers you love roast duck the most. Dad booked a complete duck banquet at Female Lawyer for this weekend. Wang Mingzheng chattered on. Song Qingqiao coldly interrupted. Wang Mingzheng. The sickening voice from the phone instantly disappeared. Song Qingqiao scoffed. Have you forgotten what day this weekend is? Wang Mingzheng mumbled in confusion. What day? Song Qingqiao didn't explain, only said in an icy voice. Wang Mingzheng, we haven't known each other just one day. We both know each other's character perfectly well, so there's no need for you to pretend deep father-daughter affection to disgust me. Wang Mingzheng broke down. Song Qingqiao, how dare you speak to your old man like that, you? And I don't like roast duck anymore. I really don't like it. Song Qingqiao finished, ignoring Wang Mingzheng's furious outburst on the other end, and hung up the phone directly. Song Qingqiao took a deep breath, trying to calm her surging emotions. She couldn't help but guess Wang Mingzheng's true intentions. As she said, they hadn't known each other just one day. They were both fully aware of each other's character. It was impossible for Wang Mingzheng to contact her for no reason and even try to flatter her.